Today, we're taking a deep dive into the story of a true giant, a symbol of ambition and an icon that has defined a city's skyline for nearly a century. We're talking about the one and only Empire State Building. Picture this, it's the late 1920s in New York City. The roaring 20s are in full swing, and the city is buzzing with energy and optimism. A fierce competition is underway, a race to the sky, as architects and developers battle to create the world's tallest building. The Chrysler Building was nearing completion, and another project at 40 Wall Street was also in the running. The stakes were incredibly high. Enter John J. Raskob, a former executive at General Motors, and Alfred E. Smith, a four-time governor of New York. They had a vision. They wanted to build something that would dwarf everything else, a monument to American ingenuity and financial might. They purchased a prime piece of real estate on Fifth Avenue, the site of the original Waldorf Astoria Hotel. The famous hotel was demolished in 1929, clearing the way for a project of unprecedented scale. The architectural firm Shreve, Lamb & Harmon was hired for the job. Legend has it that the lead architect, William Lamb, based the design on a simple pencil, creating the building's iconic and elegant tiered shape. The plan was not just to be the tallest, but to be the most efficient and profitable skyscraper ever built. The design incorporated setbacks as required by the 1916 zoning resolution, but the architects turned this legal requirement into an aesthetic triumph. And then, construction began. What happened next is nothing short of a miracle of modern engineering and project management. On March 17, 1930, the steel framework started to rise from the ground. The speed was breathtaking. The building grew at an average rate of 4.5 stories per week. At its peak, over 3,400 workers were on site daily, a diverse army of builders, including many Mohawk ironworkers, who became legendary for their seemingly fearless work high above the city streets. These skyboys, as they were called, worked without modern safety harnesses, walking across narrow steel beams, hundreds of feet in the air. Their skill and bravery were captured in Louis Hina's stunning and iconic photographs, which documented the human side of this monumental undertaking. They assembled the 57,000-ton steel frame with remarkable precision, riveting the pieces together in a thunderous chorus that echoed through Midtown Manhattan. Think about the logistics. Materials had to be delivered to a tight, congested urban site and hoisted up hundreds of feet. A miniature railway system was even built on the construction floors to move bricks and mortar efficiently. The entire process was a masterclass in planning and execution. Incredibly, from the first steel column to the final rivet, the Empire State Building was completed in a record-breaking 1 year and 45 days. This was not only ahead of schedule but also under budget. The final cost was just under $41 million, significantly less than the projected $50 million, partly due to the economic downturn of the Great Depression, which lowered labor and material costs. On May 1, 1931, the Empire State Building officially opened. President Herbert Hoover symbolically turned on the lights for the first time with the press of a button from Washington, D.C. At 1,250 feet and 102 stories, it had decisively won the race to the sky, soaring past the Chrysler Building. It would hold the title of the world's tallest building for nearly 40 years, until the completion of the World Trade Center's North Tower in 1970. But the building's early years were challenging. Opening in the depths of the Great Depression, it struggled to find tenants. The vast office spaces remained largely vacant, earning it the unfortunate nickname, the Empty State Building. For a while, the observation deck was its primary source of revenue, as tourists flocked to experience the unparalleled views. The famous spire at the top also had an interesting, though ultimately unsuccessful, original purpose. It was designed as a mooring mast for airships or dirigibles. The idea was that these giant passenger blimps could dock at the tower, and passengers would disembark via a gangplank into a terminal on the 102nd floor. It was a futuristic and glamorous vision, but high winds and safety concerns made it impractical. Only a few test attempts were ever made, and the dream of a skyport in Manhattan never materialized. Over the decades, the Empire State Building has cemented its place in history and popular culture. It has survived being struck by a B-25 bomber in foggy weather in 1945. It has been the star of countless films, most famously featuring in the 1933 classic King Kong, where the giant ape makes his last stand. It's been a romantic meeting spot in movies like An Affair to Remember and Sleepless in Seattle. The building's lights have become a character in their own right. Since 1976, the top floors have been illuminated with different colors to celebrate holidays, commemorate events, and support various causes. These nightly light shows make the tower a dynamic part of the New York skyline, a beacon that reflects the city's pulse. In recent years, the Empire State Building has undergone a massive $500 million renovation. This rebuilding project focused not just on restoring its Art Deco glory, but on transforming it into a model of 21st century energy efficiency. The building's 6,514 windows were refurbished on site to improve insulation, and its heating and cooling systems were upgraded, drastically reducing its energy consumption and carbon footprint. The visitor experience has also been completely The new observatory entrance on 34th Street leads to a museum-like exhibit that tells the building's story, from its construction to its place in pop culture. Interactive displays bring the history to life before you even step into the elevator for the thrilling ride up. And those views, from the open-air 86th floor observation deck or the enclosed 102nd floor gallery, the 360-degree panorama of New York City and beyond is simply breathtaking. On a clear day, you can see for up to 80 miles across 5 states. It's a perspective that never gets old. The story of the Empire State Building is a story of ambition, resilience, and innovation. It was born from a race to the sky, survived an economic depression, and has constantly reinvented itself to remain relevant. It's more than just steel and stone. It's a testament to the human spirit's desire to build, to achieve, and to reach for the heavens. It stands not just as a landmark of New York, but as an enduring symbol of American aspiration. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the history of this incredible structure. What are your favorite memories or movies featuring the Empire State Building? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. See you next time.